Do you know there was a famous cannibal in the world who did not pay for any of his senses, and on the contrary, he became a popular figure in Japan, like have been invited to all kinds of variety shows, talk shows, cooking shows. He even published books and interviewed with all kinds of medias and presses, like a famous celebrity. Hard to believe, right? But it's true. So today, I want to share with you about the famous Japanese cannibal, Isaac Sagawa. In 1949, Isaac Sagawa was born in a wealthy family in Kobe, Japan. But because he is a premature baby, he has been weak, sick, and stunted ever since he was a child. And also as an adult man, he is only 1.5 meters tall, walking with a limp, and his voice is also as sharp and thin like a woman, which he describes himself as a very ugly figure. So in the face of his own shortcoming, Sagawa suffered from very low self-esteem ever since he was a kid, and his mental state has gradually become twisted. When he was in middle school, he showed a different desire from other normal teenage boy. He especially liked the meat on females' thighs. He was very eager to have a taste of what is like of the human flesh on his classmates' thighs. And sometimes just by thinking about it, his mouth will unconsciously flow out with water. And ever since then, his desire for human flesh has never stopped. He was very fond of the famous actress Grace Kelly, and because of his short height, he is obsessed with tall, blonde, and attractive white women. He believes that eating their bodies can absorb their energy and make it up for his innate shortcomings. In fact, he also asked for help and confessed about his mental condition to his parents. But his father was extremely shamed and angry after hearing this. Considering the reputation of their family, he did not give the corresponding psychotherapy help to his son, which also one of the most important reasons why he became a cannibal maniac in future. Actually, when Sagawa was in college in Japan, he once had an affection on a female teaching assistant from Germany. Then he confessed about his feeling to her, but got rejected. So in one middle of the night, he sneaked into the assistant's house and tried to commit his animal crimes. But he failed in the end due to his physical condition, and then he fled the scene in a hurry. As a result, his father used money and social network to cover this thing, but it couldn't stop his desire for female flesh gets stronger and stronger. In 1977, Sagawa was sent by his father to Paris, France, to further study. At that time, his mother actually showed her concern because sending her mentally disordered son to Europe is like sending a hungry wolf into the rabbit's nest. Looking at all the white women coming and going on the street, his desire to eat people is increasing day by day. Sure enough, his mother knows his son very well because during his study, he met a Dutch female classmate, Renée Hartevelt. Her tall and beautiful appearance deeply touched his heart. He was madly in love with her, and then he thought the best way to express his love for a woman was to eat her. Therefore, in order to achieve his goal, Sagawa invited Renée to be his private German teacher. Renée was a kind person, so she agreed. In June 1981, Sagawa used learning German as an excuse to invite Renée to his residence for dinner for the first time. When they finished dinner and Renée left, Sagawa smelled and licked in all the places where she had just sat and made a sick plan. So on June 11, Renée walked into Sagawa's apartment for the last time of her life. Because while Renée was reading German poems, Sagawa quietly turned behind her and shot her in the neck with a pistol. Then the infamous and horrible cannibal began. According to his later description, he first stripped off her clothes, cut off her left breast and nose, and ate it. Then he tried to lie directly on the corpse and chew on her buttocks. But he found that it's very difficult to succeed. So he cut her buttocks into small pieces and make them into sashimi, dip it in soy sauce and just eat it as raw meat. He said that the oily yellow fat spilled when he was cutting her and it looked like corn. After achieving his twisted wish, Sagawa further decomposed the body, cut her legs, and put them in the fridge for later consumption. He stayed with the body for 2 whole days. He didn't realize that he had to deal with it until the body began to smell. But however, because he didn't make a detailed plan in advance, he just put the body in a suitcase and took it out of the house. And after his strange moves being noticed by the people on the street, he threw the suitcase in a panic and then ran away. Of course, his behavior was soon discovered by the police and he got arrested in his apartment. After this extremely bad case was exposed, it soon caused a sensation all over the world. When he was on trial, Sagawa was very cooperative and explained the process of his crime. But he claimed that the only reason he did it is because of his severe mental illness. After listening to all of his inconclusive and frightened comments in the court, the judge finally took his statements and sent Sagawa directly to a mental hospital for lifetime treatment. However, in 1984, his father paid a high price to find a very famous lawyer and successfully bailed him back from France to Japan on the grounds of his serious mental condition. Then he was admitted to a psychiatric hospital in Tokyo, Japan. Tokyo's psychiatric experts jointly examined him, and the result showed that his brain was exactly the same as normal people, so he was totally capable to bear his criminal responsibilities. Therefore, the Japanese police began to investigate him again. But when they negotiating with the French police to obtain evidence, the French police refused them due to the law of stipulated that the privacy of those responsible should not be kept confidential. And in this way, the Japanese police had to just give it up because of insufficient evidence. More than a year later, the hospital announced that Sagawa had been completely recovered and unexpectedly released him from the hospital and returned home. You know, the dramatic thing is, after returning to the society, this cannibal not only did not accept any sections, but instead, he reached a peak of his life. Because in order to increase the popularity of the program, some television stations even asked him to attend variety show and even invited him to cook and taste delicious food on the program. He himself has also published books and paintings describing in detail the process and feelings of eating women. And magazines, newspapers had especially opened new columns for him. With all these fames and monies, he has become like a well-known superstar in Japan, which was extremely hard for me to understand because this guy is a killer. He took the life of an innocent person just to satisfy his own urge. And then he got to live a successful and happy life. It is totally not fair. But as we all say, the retribution will always come, because after the heat of his cannibalism, his father first died from illness, and then 1 day later, his mother also committed suicide. And the rest of the family member was deeply ashamed of him and did not want to have any contact with him. Therefore, he had no source of livelihood. He could only live on the subsistence allowance. He lived a no families, no friends, a poor and lonely life until 2022. The 73-year-old Isao Sagawa died from COVID and ended his sinful life. Okay, so this is the story of the famous Japanese true cannibal, Isao Sagawa. What do you think about this whole thing? Welcome to leave your comments down below. And once again, thank you for watching. I hope you liked my video and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.